Welcome guys to my creative corner. This is Claudette, where I create projects using stamps, inks, papers, mixed media, and a whole lot of embellishments. If you're new to my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below as well as the bell icon so you could be notified when I upload my latest video. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. So on today's project, we're going to create a card, or I will be recreating a card from a challenge that I was given. So specifically a written layout on how to create a card. You guys were asking for fall projects, so this will be a beautiful fall card. Okay, so this is a card that I created. So the instructions said you need a stamp set with sentiments. So I decided to use the Rooted in Nature stamp set. So this stamp set is just a versatile stamp set. It comes with 2 pieces and it have plenty of stamps and plenty of sentiments with it. This also comes with coordinating dies if you choose to get the dies too as well. So this is a nice stamp set for fall. You could use this for Christmas. You could use it for any occasion. So this is a stamp set that I decided to use. So they also said you're going to need a large image. So the image that I'm going to use is this right here. So it's hard to say what it is. It seems like it's like a stump of a tree stump cut, or it could be like a top of a mushroom looking. So I don't know if it's a type leaf. So you tell me down in a comment below if you know what this image is. So that's the image I decided to use. They said choose some printed paper or designer series paper of your choice. I decided to use a wood grain piece of paper, and this is 6x6 wood grain paper. So then they said they want the coordinating base to match with your designer series paper. So I decided to use this color right here. And this is in early espresso. This is measuring 11 by 4 1/4. And then we're going to score it, or we're going to fold it in half. Okay, so that's going to be fold down at 5 1/2. Then they say you need some ribbon to coordinate with this as well. I'm going to go ahead. They said die cut or cut out your large image or your large shape. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this image right here, and I'm going to be using the coordinating ink in early espresso. All right, I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper, and we're going to go ahead and stamp that image. I'm going to use very vanilla cardstock. The last image that I stamped, I used white, but I'm going to use very vanilla in this one. So we're going to get our image out. We're going to go ahead and ink that up. With the larger images, it's nice to just have that facing up. Go ahead and stamp that on our cardstock. And it's not a die cut for this particular image, so I'm going to go ahead and hand cut that out. That wasn't too bad. So next, what it says, do we want to cut? You're going to take your designer series paper. In this case, that was the wood grain designer series paper, the 6x6 wood grain designer series paper. And you're going to cut 5 strips of 1 inch by 4 inches. 1 inch by 4 inches, you want 5 strips of that. So I am going to bring in my trimmer. And you guys, I have a new guillotine type trimmer. So I'm using it every chance I get to make sure to just test it out. All right, but I'm just loving this trimmer so far. So we're going to go down to 4 inches. So we want 4 inches by 1 inch. And we want 5 pieces of those. So that's 4 inches there. So I'm just going to do 5 pieces of 1 inch paper. So we have our 5 strips of paper. So next it says to arrange those 5 strips of paper on the base of your card so you create a background image. So we're going to take our card and I'm going to glue those 5 strips of pieces down. So this is going in landscape mode. So you could also cut your base of your card in portrait mode. So I'm just going to put it in place of how I want it to be before I glue them down, so I could have close to even amount of space in between. And I just opened my card so it could be easier for me. I'm just going to put my block here so you could have a little bit of weight to hold that down. So I'm going to go ahead and take my multi-purpose glue, and like some of you guys know, I like the wet glue because you have time enough to move your work around. It doesn't dry that quickly. Next, the instruction said to add the large shape to the center of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this shape up with some dimensionals. So I'm down to the last of these. So guys, when you're coming down to the end of your dimensionals, just make sure you use every drip of it. So then I'm going to put that here. And next, guys, I am going to use some of the leaves. So I went ahead and stamped a couple leaves in Early Espresso on the Very Vanilla cardstock. And I went ahead and used the dies and run that through my die cutting machine. And I did that already. So these are the two pieces that I got from that. And I'm just going to add some little sparkle to that. So I'm going to add a little bit of Wink of Stella to that. And it's just going to make it look a little murky. So the Early Espresso is like a water-based ink. So it just bleeds in, color kind of bleeds in there. But you see that little shine? So I like that. I like that murky look. Just add a little bit of color to that. Don't know if you guys could see that shine. So while that is drying, we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. And I'm going to do this "You Are Wonderful," that sentiment right there. So I'm going to get a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock, and we're going to go ahead and stamp that up. Bring in my scrap piece of paper. Get my clear block. And I'm going to be stamping this in Early Espresso. So I'm just using one color ink. And that's in Early Espresso. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on my block and make sure it's straight, just to make sure that it would stamp pretty straight. Go ahead and ink that up. And we'll go ahead and stamp that. Make sure our paper is straight. Okay, so that came out pretty good. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim that down. So I'm just going to bring in my little mini guillotine trimmer, and this one is by Stampin' Up. Isn't it so cute? It only goes over to 4 1/4 of an inch there. So let's see, I'll trim off about here. I think I'm just going to trim some off of the edges too as well. All right, so we'll bring our piece back in so we could finish that up. So we're going to glue this down on this section, and we're going to add some dimensional from the R to the right. We'll add some dimensionals. And then on this side, we'll add a little bit of wet glue. And right about here looks right. And then we're going to take and stick our leaves in here. Just get it in there before that dries. And then after, what we're going to do is add our bow. I went ahead and got some twine, just cut some twine. I doubled up on it and got this bow. And I'm just going to take a glue dot and just maybe fold that glue dot in half, and then we'll add it here to our card. Just going to straighten that bow out a bit. So for the inside layer of your card, you could cut a piece of cardstock measuring 5 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then you could put that in the inside. And I usually keep the inside empty until I'm ready to gift my cards. So if you guys got any creative value from this video, please go ahead and smash the like button down below. So tell me guys, which card you prefer, the one with the white or the one with the very vanilla? So I would challenge you guys to recreate this card with your stamp set, with your designer series paper. Get out there and be creative. This is Claudette. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video.